Running a restaurant is like having another baby who's always crying and who's always doing potty.
What we have kind of cracked open is something way
He's
different.
Dadaji of running restaurants.
Yeah.
So when a lot of people come to me and ask, यार तुम लोग तो पूरा छाप रहे होगे ना?
Very ironically, in my case, I don't know how to cook shit.
I have seen more than 500 people in my life which were kids with me. And everybody has told me one thing common, that they want to own a restaurant once in their life. That is their goal. You know why? Because I feel that when people go out, the maximum number of things that they see is restaurant.
Agreed.
And when that happens, they feel that it must be very easy to open a restaurant. That is why so many are opening up, and it's something that everybody loves to go to. It's a place where everybody loves to go. So that is the perception that I feel people have.
Yes. It's not the usual professions that people get into, right? Everybody wants to be entrepreneurs these days. And I guess restaurants is something that looks, like you said, it's seen more, and people, when they see it more, they want to become something that they see. So probably that.
As you said, people wants to become entrepreneur. Now, since you've mentioned entrepreneurship, I think everybody has gotten it wrong. That every business that opens is not a startup. It's
No.
a business.
Yes.
People don't understand that. I don't know why. A startup is anything that disrupts a market. That is a startup. Ola was a
Something new.
startup because it disrupted the unorganized sector of auto and made it more organized. So that's a startup. So leaving that aside today, that's not the point of conversation. The point of conversation is why people want to open restaurants. I am telling you,
Yeah.
being you're also an owner of HealthyChef, so we know that it's not easy.
Running it is not easy.
Running a restaurant is like having another baby who's always crying and who's always doing potty. And you have to keep running to make sure that its potty do not go here and there. And people feel that खाना ही तो बना के देना है. नहीं भाई, खाने के साथ और भी बहुत कुछ देना और पीछे बहुत कुछ जाता है. So people don't understand that part.
Yeah, and like we've discussed multiple times, especially the market that we have chosen for ourselves, like the people who subscribe to us, the kind of people and the kind of food and the kind of customization that we give out, that requires much more than just khana bana ke dena, like you mentioned.
Correct.
Like
We
in
have
the normal
chosen-
restaurants, it's not just, it's just about, okay, you're making normal food, but it's the same for everyone. But when what we have kind of cracked open is something way
He's
different.
Dadaji of running restaurants.
Yeah,
So when I see a restaurant
Yeah.
and they say that it's very challenging, I ask them, you come to my kitchen once and you see my desk
Yeah.
as to what kind of business I operate, and then you will say that okay, my restaurant business is very easy. Maybe when they say difficult, they're not saying that the operations is difficult. They're saying
Correct.
that making money in restaurant business is difficult. And I would 100% tell everybody who's going to watch this, making money in restaurant business is not an easy task. It's a long run game because you're making what, 20-25% of net profit when your days are good. And people say that nahi, there's 50% profit, 60% profit. A lot of people come to me and ask, यार तुम लोग तो पूरा छाप रहे होगे ना, क्योंकि there's 50%, 60%,
Misconceptions.
50%, 60% ग्रॉस मार्जिन है. मैंने ग्रॉस मार्जिन और नेट प्रॉफिट में बहुत अंतर है ना. My food cost might be 35-40%, but
Right.
being in a healthy industry, my food cost is 50%.
Right.
And people don't understand that, and they're like, oh, full 50, चलो ठीक है भाई, तुम्हारा food cost 50% है, बाकी 50% तो तुम्हारी जेब में आ रहा ना. This is the problem with people who confuse entrepreneurship with business.
Yes.
And these are the people who have never done business and don't understand the concept of gross profit and net profit.
Yes. And also with that comes a lot of challenges. You might say that, yes, making money is a thing, but the difficult part is, I feel, is also operations, where the labor,
Oh,
especially. Yeah, because you handle operations majorly in HealthyChef. So I know that, every day you wake up and you don't know if this person is going to return. If you don't know if they're going to be as, what do you say, efficient. Yeah,
efficiency is a concern for me, definitely. But what you mentioned, that labor, so when you look from outside, this business seems very easy, because when you come inside, you know that labor is the major problem. That you don't have people who will cook. A lot of restaurants close. 95% of the restaurant that is closing is because the person was either not good or they were not willing to work. When running a business which is dependent upon two types of people, where staff is required to cook, they have a different kind of mindset. And then you have to deal with people who are into deliveries. They're both from the same class of blue-collared employees, but their mentality, their frequency of running away is way different. A person who's cooking might not run for 6-8 months, but a person who's doing deliveries might run in a week. So when you mention that every time I wake up, most of the time it's about the person who's going out for delivery, whether if he's going out, will he come back?
Come back.
I know for a fact that you never wanted to get into food business, but
Never
but
imagined.
you got into it, and obviously you're not doing the food part of it,
Yeah.
but you are handling the marketing, the sales, and a lot of different aspects of business, but
Right.
not operations, because neither it's required from your side, because I'm there and I'm doing all these things.
Yeah.
But then how is it? How does it feel?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. They feel because I run a restaurant. I mean, I actually agree that if you run a restaurant, I guess you're supposed to also know to cook at least a little bit. But very ironically, in my case, I don't know how to cook shit. I've never been a fan of kitchen or cooking or anything that involves in the process. Yeah, I mean, how I got into this is another story, maybe for another day. But why I'm in it is people have to understand that running a startup or a business involves way more than what is just seen. It's not the chef. The chef is doing his part. The operation manager is doing his part. The deliveries persons are doing their part. But you also require sales to come in. You have to look after the accounting of the company. You have to look after the marketing of the company. You have to talk to people. You have to socialize. All these things are also major parts of being a part of business, being a part of the startup. And to make your business big, to build a brand, it requires much more than just cooking. So I feel I'm making up for that part, and I guess I'm also learning in the process.
I see a lot of restaurants coming up, small, big, closing, running well. I still don't understand what makes people feel that they want to open a restaurant. And now the new concept of cloud kitchen has come in, which has made the jobs of people much easier in terms of theory, but way difficult when it comes to generating sales. And so cloud
Right.
kitchen is basically a very hard concept where you don't have a store. You're just working out of a silent, invisible kitchen
Right.
where you just collect the deliveries. The only way you are found is online, and if you're not found online, and the circle is such that if you're found, you'll be found again,
Yeah.
and you'll be found again, and you'll be found again.
I know what you mean.
And if you're not being found,
You're gone.
you'll not be there.
Yeah,
You're not
you're
found.
gone.
You'll keep going down. So it's
Right,
a
right.
it's a cycle of it's a
It's the algorithm of the online
Yeah.
platforms that we have. That's how
be
they
it
work.
Zomato, Swiggy, or Instagram. If your
Yeah.
reels are going high, it'll fucking shoot you to the moon. And if it's
Yeah.
not doing good,
Just
gone. Just gone.
want to add the reel that is reaching 1 million.
yeah,
on
I
our
stopped seeing it. I uninstalled Instagram.
Yeah, so like that, like you never know what works. I feel these restaurants and the concepts are more like movies. If you see, sometimes you have it all, but they don't work. But sometimes you don't have it all, but they still work. So people still don't know the formula to make this a successful venture. But I guess everybody tries. They put in their heart and soul, and they try to build something new. And if it works, it works. Otherwise, you have to try again.
But yeah, I have seen a lot of people have this knack of running restaurants. I know a lot of people personally, my uncle, everybody who are into industry, and for some reason, because they're into industry from so many years, 20, 25 years now, so their understanding of the industry is so intriguing, like small details they know,
Experience.
that you know that this person will pull it off. Even with people skills, the kind of people skills you need with the people who are working for you, the kind of people skills you need to whom you are serving the food, your customers. In our case, it is clients. It's not that people have not figured out recipe for a successful restaurant. It's just that they don't want to put it out because obvious reasons that they want to be successful and not they don't want anybody else to be.
Could be that, or like we've also always discussed this, the never giving up attitude, the consistency. A lot of people fail because of those things as well. These are basic things that goes for every profession, not just restaurants. People come up with a lot of ideas, but how many people execute it? First step is just executing whatever you are planning. I really have to acknowledge the fact that how you came out of your working, you were in a corporate job and you just came out of that and you took that plunge. And a lot of people don't have first step. Second is the hard work that goes into it, like we all just discussed. Restaurant business is not easy. For that matter, nothing's easy. Nothing comes easy, right? Everything requires some kind of hard work. It's not everybody's cup of tea.
It can be everybody's cup of tea, but they should be willing to put in that kind of effort where you're sleeping only 4 hours a day and you're meeting, in our case, we're meeting n number of people, we're meeting different gyms, we're meeting so many people, trying to create a client base, trying to have building a brand, having a name and keeping that stored, not just कि आज नाम बना लिया और कल चले गया,
खत्म
होता है. ups and downs comes even in names, even in brands. कोई भी brand next level नहीं होता है,
right?
It takes time. अभी what we are 3 years old, हमने भी नाम बना लिया है एक हद तक. A lot of people say 1,000 things, a lot of people say many nice things about us, they appreciate us. I think what problem happens with people is जब उनको कोई भी अगर 10 लोग बुरा बोले और 100 लोग अच्छा बोले ना, तो they will focus on the 10 लोग जिन्होंने बुरा बोला
है, वो तो है,
and not focus on जो 100 लोग जो उनको बोल रहे हैं कि भाई तुम बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, needs improvement, लेकिन काम तुम बहुत बढ़िया कर रहे हो. The purpose behind it is very good. So even when you open a restaurant, I think if you have a purpose behind it, running it for a long time would be much easier. So the only suggestion would be to not jump into restaurant business
because it looks fancy.
It looks fancy, but because you have जो restaurant तुम operate कर रहे होगे वहाँ का खाना तुम नहीं खा सकते, ये ध्यान में रख के open करना.
हाँ यार,
so you feel that
हम कितना खाते हैं healthy खाना.
You feel that it's very accessible to me. Yes, definitely. But the number of times I see food in a day and the number of times I see the messages of my client regarding food, अच्छा था, ये था, वो था. I don't feel like eating healthy. नहीं, I don't feel like eating food. It's just hungry. भगवान ने ऐसा पेट बनाया तो हमको खाना पड़ रहा है, वरना अदरवाइज आई हैव नो इंटरेस्ट इन फूड एट ऑल. ऑल्दो आई एम अ फूडी, एवरीबडी go probably our close people will be watching, but this is the truth that when the more you see broccoli, capsicum, cucumber, it's nice, it's very good for health. Please subscribe to Healthy Chef.
Agreed.
But it's difficult for us. Same goes for a software engineer. It's very easy for them to make a software for a client. But when it comes to coding it for themselves, they will take years together to complete one project.
True.
Yeah, don't get into it if you are looking for कि यार जल्दी पैसा बन जाएगा. नहीं बनेगा.
नहीं बनेगा.
You have to stick through a lot of negative balances, a lot of positive balances.
A lot of hurdles.
But yeah, it's worth it. For me personally, the kind of business I'm in, I always wanted to help people in some way or the other. And I think my calling has been answered through Healthy Chef. So just understand that if you want to get into food business, whether your calling is answered or not, that will make the case for you whether your business will be successful or not.